course, it's a Tuesday. Let's do this together. Let's begin with a big one. Right, so let's begin from here because I'm sure you aren't too lucky to be watching me because you don't have power in your house. The opposition NPP leadership says the current erratic power situation in the country is as a result of government's inability to handle the problem. The party's General Secretary, Kwabena Japan, is asking government to provide more pragmatic solution to the country's energy crisis.
Government announced its intention to increase the generation capacity by 1,000 megawatts. However, the minister fell short of providing details, financial details, and a timeline for the aforementioned projects. The question is, how is the government going to fund such projects? Especially so when it was not captured in the 2015 budget, which was read on the floor of Parliament by the Minister of Finance, Mr. Seth Tekme. We want to request the government to provide us with project details of these short-term measures and also a clear timeline for the completion of the aforementioned power projects. When we left power in 2009 as a government, we believe we left the NDC with adequate generating capacity. They should tell us the truth. What is happening? Today they tell you it's gas from Nigeria. The next day there is no money to buy light crude oil. The government should come clean. There's incompetence in the running of the power sector, and the overload on VRA is impacting their capacity to import the crude that will work the thermal plants. I don't think we are short of capacity, generating capacity, because I do believe that all the projects that were initiated during President Kufuor's time, some of them have been commissioned during the NDC administration. So a lot of capacity has been added.
Right. So let's go to Tema because we'll stay on this energy issue. The Sonon Asogli thermal plant, we're told, is to begin full production of 200 megawatts of power by the end of this week. Now, President Mahama, who went around some plants in Tema, assured the power outages will be reduced considerably in a few months.
Ghana's power supply has not been stable for some time now. Government has on several occasions assured of resolving the problem by signing new medium to long-term deals to address the energy challenge. President Mahama, together with the Power Minister, have visited key power generating plants within the Tema Power Enclave to see at first hand the operations of the power projects. Their first port of call was the Sonon Asogli power plant site, which is currently underproducing due to the breakdown of one of its main plants. Management of the facility assured 200 megawatts of power would be generated beginning this weekend after the machines are fixed.
The particular equipment that is damaged, we plan to fix by the end of the week. The parts required will arrive from China tomorrow. So by the end of the week, we are back to the full utilization of the 200 megawatt capacity.
The second phase of the Asogli thermal plant has also begun, targeting to produce 300 megawatts of power after completion. The president also inspected the Tema Senate thermal plant, which runs on natural gas. The team rounded up their inspection tour at the new Gbon power plant site being put up by the Volta River Authority. The facility would produce 220 megawatts of power from April this year.
I was assured by the plant manager that by the end of April, this plant will be ready. Your Excellency, this will add 220 megawatts of generation to our available capacity.
Plants have already started to add on what we call the steam add-on, which will add 110 megawatts to this facility. And we also started plans and started looking for money already to build the second phase of this plant. We are looking at this enclave to have more than 700 megawatts, and we've started all the necessary arrangement in place right now as we speak.
President Mahama was satisfied with work done so far and urged Ghanaians to remain patient as government worked around the clock to fix the power crisis.
I can understand how Ghanaians feel in terms of the inconvenience they're going through with the current load management that we are having. But I must say that I'm confident about the future, because with the generation planning that we're doing, we should be able to avoid finding ourselves in this kind of situation again. At Asogli, they are preparing the ground for their phase 2, which is 360 megawatts. And this plant is almost near completion, another 220 megawatts.
The country is targeting to move into full-scale production of energy through thermal plants, as hydropower generation is becoming unstable due to changing water levels.
Right. So President Mahama, they're visiting some of the facilities likely to supply and improve Ghana's energy situation. We're staying still on the energy issue, because you remember the power minister some couple of days ago telling Ghana that 2 barges are expected in the country to improve power supply. The executive director of the African Center for Energy Policy, John Peterme, is arguing that government lacks the funding to get the 2 barges. Let's listen to him.
Government is telling us now that they have money to go for the barges. What stopped them using those monies to procure light crude oil to fire the generation plants at the point in time when those plants were available? Government don't have the money, and those who are going to generate the power will not come to generate it free. And so these short-term measures are not going to work. If we had put in those measures to maintain those plants on periodic basis and stop subjecting them to such an intensity that we did previously, those plants will still be working. So I doubt it. This crisis will continue to move from doomsor to doomcra. I mean, it's clear. Government on its own is broke.
Right. So some energy experts doubting if government is able to procure the barges. But let me speak to the communications specialist at the Energy and Petroleum Ministry, Mr. Edward Bauer. He's just joined me on phone. Mr. Bauer, grateful to have you tonight.
Thanks for having me.
And so let's begin from the NPP's press conference today, where it says that the power minister told Ghanaians 2 barges are arriving to shore up the power supply, and yet it failed to tell us how much is involved, when these barges will come in, and precisely some other details. Is that what the situation is?
Thank you very much. I think that basically all the queries you have just raised have been dealt with. First, you are asking when this whole challenge will be dealt in terms of timeline.
Precisely.
I think that he had given that. He said by the close of the year he should get this thing sorted. Indeed, if you hear of emergency power plants, the whole idea is to give a short-term solution to the problem. So he had given that by the close of the year that should be done. So, I mean, he was very clear in his statement. I don't know what people were, what again people expected him to have said, but at least I think he had given that. Now, in terms of the other concern that the New Patriotic Party, as it were, raised about one that these emergency plans have not been budgeted for, and therefore, where were they going to get the money from? It's neither here nor there. That all the 1,000 megawatts that is being proposed to come as emergency power plants are all coming as independent power producers. So where they are going to get their money is basically from tariffs. Indeed, if you look at the tariffs that they have negotiated for within the PPA, it's within the framework and the current tariff regime of PURC. And so that is equally not a challenge. And so for the 2 reasons you have given, if it has to do where is the money coming from, and the other one being the timeline, I think the minister was amply clear in his statement that he presented.
Can you clarify this for our viewers? You said the monies involved in this will be gotten from tariffs?
Yeah, it's an independent power producer. It's a private sector. Look, like, for example, let's say I want I want somebody to barber my hair. I'm just using that.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, all I need is that if the person comes with his scissors or maybe he's shaving, whatever it is, I should be available to have that sorted. Because he's a private man, so the investment is coming from him. The only thing is that they will always want some guarantees, and the guarantees will be that, look, the man, because remember that it's a batch, it's a shipping batch, so they are bringing the whole plant in a ship. It's like it's a ship.
Right.
They bring it to Ghana, so they can't make all those investments and other things. Bring it to Ghana, and Ghana will finally say, "Oh, we are not interested in buying the power again. So thank you very much, go back." So they need some assurances. That's why you have what they call a PPA, a power purchase agreement, that you sign. That the ministry has tried to facilitate that between they and then the off-taker, that's ECG. There are some permits they need to get in terms of environmental issues. We have facilitated that with the EPA to get that. There are some licenses they need to get from the Energy Commission. That has been done. There are some tariff approvals that they need to get from PURC. That is also something that the minister has facilitated for them to get. So they are just private. All that the ministry is doing is facilitating their entry into the power market in Ghana under the, as it were, the emergency situation that we find ourselves in.
So, in effect, we should not be worried about funding for the project, because the investors will bring the batch in and then take their tariffs to pay for the operations.
Yeah, basically, as I said, they are just a private thing that they will what do you call it? They will just operate and then get their money back. But indeed, right, let me make a point to you.
Go ahead.
I hear people talk about it has not even been budgeted for in the what do you call it, the 2015 budget.
Has it?
But if you look at the budget, there's contingency, isn't it? There's contingency. The contingencies are meant to capture things that maybe were not foreseen even before the budget was drawn. True or false? If that is the case, why are we worried about that?
But the NPP is also disturbed that the simple problem has to do with generation. And they think that government should rather pump in money to buy more crude oil to generate power, because they think VRS machines are there and ready to generate power.
I think whoever is saying that may not have all the facts. Look, as we speak, in terms of even commissioning, in terms of just the commissioning gas that comes from Atuabo, if Atuabo can give VRA currently at Abuaze more than they need. That is the current situation. Atuabo can deliver at least 120 million standard cubic feet of gas a day. The amount that Abuaze enclave needs now is about 90. So it can't be an issue of fuel in terms of the Abuaze enclave. If it is the Tema enclave. The Tema enclave currently, as we speak, is about maintenance. And I think that you amply heard that from the president when he spoke. So you have Senate undergoing maintenance. You have Assembly undergoing maintenance and everything. So in as much as we do know that it is important that the fuel, the Tema enclave may also be put under the risk of not having sufficient fuel, because fuel coming from Nigeria is erratic. We also think that as part of even our measures, we're trying to see how we can get gas from Atuabo to Tema using a pipeline, and that is also being worked at. So currently it is not because of crude oil that is giving us the challenges. No, that is not the issue.
It is our machines.
Yeah, I mean, we have indicated the reasons. The first reason is hydrology. It's about inflows of water into our dams. Because of that, now VRA is running around 4 turbines. Even with the 4 turbines of doing the 170, they are doing around 125 per turbine. You have Bui doing 1 at off-peak and 3 at at peak period. You have some of the plants not available in terms of the thermal plants. So all these factors have come together to create the current situation that we are in. So we've given the reasons. And in the reasons that we've given, crude oil purchase is not one of the things.
And government has what it takes to purchase crude oil if the machines were operating.
What I can tell you is that if the challenge that we face now was just because of crude issues, government definitely would have done that. Because we've been doing that all this while. It's always been done. So why would it now that we would not want to do it? The issue is not about that. These are not the facts.
So grateful, Ba, for speaking to us.
Thank you very much.
Edward Ba is a communications specialist at the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum there. Let's stay a bit longer on this particular issue of energy, because the Association of Ghana Industries is making some statements, and it is saying that Ghana risks losing its industrial base if government policies do not revive the industrial sector as the manufacturing sector continues to shrink. Now, according to the association, manufacturing recorded 8.0% in 2014, and that is the worst growth in recent memory.
As a matter of urgency, should ensure full operation of the Tema Oil Refinery, considering its significant contribution to value addition. Towards operation will ensure availability of residual fuel oil for steam boilers of industry at competitive cost. The high volume of imports do not inure to the growth of local industries. AGI therefore expects to see a program to scale up local manufacturing through import substitution where local raw material sources exist.
Right, so the president of the Association of Ghana Industries there, James Asariaje there, talking about growth in the manufacturing sector. We'll stay on the big one a little longer, because this one has also to do with the energy sector. Let me show you these pictures picked up from parts of Accra. You can see kids studying in front of some institutions that are running their system through generators. Let's watch these pictures, and you can see some kids learning and studying around the Oxford Street, around the Agricultural Development Bank, close to the Shell filling station. There, some of these kids found them there studying. But let's listen to what the kids are saying.
Our TV have sport. They didn't inform everybody, no light off. Maybe you are going somewhere and nails are there. You step on it, you'll be hurt. So they have to inform the radios. They have to inform. If they won't inform, every day we hurt.
So why are you sitting here?
Oh, we didn't have light in the house. So we came out to see the light over there. And we are here doing our homework and other things.
Right, so those were kids who were studying outside around the Oxford Street, precisely in front of the Agricultural Development Bank, or ADB Bank, newly branded ADB Bank. But let's try and see if simply the fact that power outages are causing these kids to study outside, or simply parents checking their responsibility, because these kids mustn't be seen outside. Bright Apia is the Executive Director of Child Rights International. He's just joined me on phone. Mr. Apia, grateful to have you tonight. But kids studying outside on busy streets at night around between 7 and 8, is it something you recommend?
Yeah, well, it's not something that I would recommend, in the sense that the exposure is one of the things that we should be worried about, because when children find themselves in such an environment, there's a little that they can do in terms of protecting them and all that. And this has also been necessitated by some difficulties that we are facing as a nation. So certain stakeholders, if I say stakeholders, I'm also referring to the parent,
right, that
they need to also begin to take certain steps to address some of these issues, because where they are now, it poses a threat to the children, because anything at all can happen to them. It could be rape, it could be defilement, it could be anything.
So let's quickly look at this, because a viewer is concerned that even within these power outages, kids, children, as young as this, basically in basic school, should be able to come home and have their homework done before 6 p.m. or before the sun set. So if this is happening, then where do we put the blame? Parents or children just trying to look for a way out, a way of escape?
Well, I think that is a national crisis that you are facing, because in normal circumstances, children should not be witnessing some of these things, because it becomes part and parcel of history so far as their growth is concerned. So I think that somebody must step in, and I think that parents should be the very persons that we can all rely on, so that they can make provision for children to study. And also, looking at the difficulties, I think that one of the things that the teachers can also do is to give a lot of work that relates to the classroom, so that children will not spend so much time doing a lot of homework. Because I know sometimes children come home with about 4 homeworks and they have to submit it the next day. So they have to also find ways and means to also meet that, because they know that when they don't do it, it's either they are going to be caned, or they are not going to get the desired marks to move to the next level, or to hit the mark that they want. So out of their own zeal, out of their own initiative and innovations, they think that wherever they find it, they have to make use of it, so that they'll be able to achieve that purpose. But I do not think that we should allow children to go through such difficulties. So parents must play that role, and teachers must also begin to reduce the number of homework they give to the children, so that they will do a lot of classwork, which, of course, I know that during that period, they will be able to do what they are supposed to do.
Let's talk particularly about public schools. They are running the system where school closes between 12 and 1, if I am right. Now, if kids have come home between 12 and 1 and would have to wait till between 6 and 7, probably 8 o'clock, to be doing homework, then there's something wrong. You don't agree?
Yeah, there's something wrong. Brian, if you look at the number of children who go to the public schools, research has shown, in which we have the document there, shown that when they close from school, parents engage them in other activities before they will get home to do their homework. So that has been the issue, compared to the private schools, where they would need the children to also have extra hours to study. For them, that extra hour, they have to use it to engage in all kinds of work to be able to also contribute to the welfare of the family, which also is a problem, because if we don't allow children to be where they are, we don't define their environment, we don't promote it, we don't protect them, then that raises a whole lot of issues, because I also don't understand why a child who comes back from school should begin doing their homework around 8. Sometimes they have to even do it around 9 and 10. And then sometimes they have to, after that, they have to make sure that everybody is asleep, everybody is okay before they can also go to sleep and all that. Before they get to the next day, they are so tired and they cannot even concentrate when they're in the classroom and all that. So a whole lot of things are working against children, coupled with the doomsday issues that we are experiencing in this country. So I think that we have to step in. It's child protection issue, and child protection issue also is not limited to one person. It's not limited to the state. It's not limited to a parent alone. But other stakeholders must also play a role. That is why I'm saying that the teachers must also be up and doing and all that, to ensure that at least we lessen the burden on children. And parents must also look at the situation and say that, yes, these are the period that they will give light off and all that, so that they can give ample time for children to do their homework where they need be, that they will do it, so that we can find a space for our children to also feel free. Because what is going to happen is that any difficulty that we are confronted with as a state, children suffer the most. Even within the home, children suffer the most, because sometimes when there's no food at home, you expect that the father will eat before the children will eat. So children are always the last resort. this national crisis that we are going through, children must look for light and find and see how they can do it and all that. So clearly, we are exposing children to harm, and I don't think that the picture that we're painting to our children will serve them any good. We need to also build that patriotic spirit in them, that spirit of nationalism, for them to also appreciate the fact that they can also contribute something to national development. But I think that some of these things are so negative for our children to have a picture of it.
Grateful to have you tonight. Bright Appiah is Executive Director of Child Rights International.